Hi everyone, welcome back to Chop's Garage. It's story time again. Those of you that aren't regular to the channel might think, what does he mean story time? It's quite a popular section on Chop's Garage. We get all of the subscribers to send me in their stories of dealing with car traders and selling cars, and we root through them and find out the most interesting ones and share them with the rest of you. And then we get your feedback on whether you think people were treated fairly or not, whether the dealer was dodgy, whether they should have done something else, all that kind of good stuff. Thanks ever so much for all the people that have been sending them in. It's really appreciated. Keep them coming. Get them in through Instagram, or you can find my email address up on the website there, and we'll continue to share these with you. They are really helpful to other people that might be running into problems with car deals that they've done, issues they're having with dealers, so they really can be quite helpful as well. So there's some really interesting stuff going. Before we get into it, we must first of all thank today's sponsor, Surfshark. And if you don't know who they are, I'll quickly show you. Surfshark provides you with a virtual private network, a VPN. You might say, James, why do I need a VPN? Well, a VPN helps your data travel through the internet safely without big companies or cyber criminals being able to spy on your online activity. Now, many of you will know from previous videos that although I really appreciate the online security that Surfshark gives me, one of my favourite features is its ability to allow me to access geo-locked content. What do I mean by that? Well, look, here's an example, Netflix. On Netflix, as we all know, there's content that you can watch in some countries, but you can't in others. So say, for example, I would like to watch Goodfellas, and who wouldn't? What a cracking movie. If I do a search for that in the UK, it's not available to me. So what do I do? With my Surfshark, all I do is go up here and scroll down and select a country that that content is available in. So I know it's available in Canada, for example. If I click on that, Surfshark now changes my fixed IP address to show that I'm in Canada. If I now refresh that page, I can now watch Goodfellas. And this applies to a multitude of online streaming sites. And the great news is, with the offer that Surfshark give Chop's Garage viewers, it costs next to nothing to have Surfshark. Let me show you. You get 83% off, so it costs you £1.84 per month. You get 3 months extra free, and you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So the link to this offer is in the description down below. So back to story time. We've got an interesting one here from John. I'm really going to be interested on your take on this one. Thanks for sending it in, John. So yeah, comments down below on this one. So he says that 5 days ago I purchased a Toyota Yaris 2010 diesel from a used car dealer. The car was advertised at 2,695, so remember that. I asked if there was any movement in the price. Now he agreed that he would do it for 2,500. So John went down, test drove the car, was more or less happy, but asked if he could do even better on the price. So he's asking the dealer, so remember it was up at 2,695. He asked for it 2,500 on the phone, went down, test drove the car, and said, after test driving the car, could the guy do even better than 2,500? Apparently, at this point, the dealer said the only way I can get the price down any lower is to take off the 3-month warranty that I was providing with the vehicle. And if you take it without the 3-month warranty, I can do the car for you at £2,250. So it's up at 2,695, got initially down 2,500, then 2,250 without the warranty on it after having test drove it. So he pointed out that, in all honesty, the dealer did point out to him, all honesty, at that age, the warranty wouldn't really cover anything other than mechanicals, transmission, engine, that kind of thing, which the warranties that I put on mine at that age don't tend to cover much more than that anyway. So it sounds like the dealer's, you know, all about right on that as well. So they asked him to sign an invoice to the effect that the sale of the vehicle was a trade sale with no warranty implied or given. So the dealer said, look, if I take the warranty off and I do it for you 2.5, you need to sign this form to say it's a trade sale, no warranties implied or given. Don't forget, this dealer was actually prepared, obviously, at the 2,695 to sell it at 2,500 with the 3-month warranty on it. But this is where the negotiation ended up. So anyway, the deal was done. He collected the car. John collected the car the next morning. He went for a drive, and as soon as he got into a dual carriageway, he found that there was a problem. The car wouldn't go into 5th gear, a bit like my old Panda that I had on an earlier video. Sorry about the noise, by the way. It's pouring down with rain here, and we've got trucks going back and forth. So He got the car out. He'd obviously test driven it and maybe not got it up to a speed where he could get into fifth, but he got it out onto a dual carriageway and found the car wouldn't go into fifth gear. So he got back to the garage, and the garage said, well, you bought it trade, you bought it without warranty at the reduced price point, you got it at 2250 rather than 2695. So it's really up to you to now fix it, but actually offered a partial refund of £250. So now effectively our subscriber John was getting a 2695 car at £2,000, knowing he needed to get a gearbox done on it. So even though he'd actually signed the form, like I say, to say you know, without a warranty and so forth. So he took it down to his local transmission place, and they said that they're 98% sure that it's the fifth gear hub, must be synchro, I would have thought, or something like that, and that they need to strip the whole thing down and rebuild, and that's going to be £1,000 to do that work. So John says, you know, I'm on a low ecam with the £250 that's been offered. I'm still going to have to swallow £750, and I can't really afford the repair. I can't afford to employ a solicitor to go to court over it, and he's stuck now with this car that won't go into fifth gear. And the garage is saying they won't do any more other than giving the £250. So he was asking me, what's my thoughts on it? So at this point, it's always interesting if you guys go into the comment and put down what your thoughts are on it, what you think the score is, what you think is reasonable to be done here. So get down and put that in the comments down below. So, on a legal point of view, I went back to John and said, did they let you drive the car on the road pre-sale? Which he said they did. I said, did you trailer the car away? He said, no, I didn't trailer the car away, I drove it away. So I also asked, did they ask for any proof that you were a trader? So, you know, they're giving you a trade invoice, you know, be it a business card, a website, limited company name, that kind of thing. He said no to that as well. So I went back and said, so from a legal point of view, a dealer cannot sell you a car that doesn't fall under the Consumer Rights Act unless it is sold spares and repair. So that means if it's sold spares and repair, it has to not be, you can't allow someone to drive it on the road. As soon as you allow them to drive it on the road, you're saying it is fit for purpose, it is roadworthy, and then it falls back under the Consumer Rights Act. He didn't get it trailered away, so again, it wouldn't be considered spares and repair. It can't be considered a trade sale because the guy isn't a trader and provided no proof of trade. So whatever was written on the invoice is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. That you cannot just write trade sale, no warranty implied, or give him, because it's not a trade sale, because he's not a trader. You've asked for no proof he's a trader. The onus falls on the dealer to get proof that the person is in fact a trader. So from that point of view, the guy could take the vehicle, John could take the vehicle back under the Consumer Rights Act and say it's not fit for purpose, not as described, because fifth gear doesn't work. But my point of view, from a moral side of things, it's entirely possible this dealer wasn't aware it didn't go into fifth, because don't forget our subscriber test drove it and didn't find it didn't get into fifth gear. So our dealer could have test drove it and again not noticed it himself. He has given the guy a massive discount off the price. He started off at 2695. He's come down to 2.5 with a warranty, then come down to 2250 without a warranty, and he's now offering 250 back again. So he's offered £695 off the original price. The repair is £1,000. So our subscribers only really got to foot £300 to be whole again on the deal. Our subscriber knew what he was doing quite clearly here, as we can see through the process. He knew what he was doing. He wasn't unaware. He wasn't bamboozled into doing this deal. He actively pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed for the lowest price he could get. He was told he would need to sign an invoice that told him he had no warranty and it was a trade sale and he'd be on his own on it, and he willingly signed that. So for me, from a moral point of view, I think that the guy kind of needs to swallow it. You know, the offer of the £250 is ideal. £1,000 to fix the gearbox is wrong anyway. For a Toyota 2010 Yaris, he could probably go and get a box for say 300 quid. Someone could charge him 250, 300 to fit it. So in fact, the £695 discount is more than enough really to put a new box into the car. So that's where I haven't actually had an update on what's happened with this one. So John, if you if you have got an update of what happened with this, do let us know. I mean, obviously, I'm not unsympathetic that you've got a car that doesn't go into fifth gear, but kind of to a certain extent brought upon yourself, to a certain extent. And like I say, it's a difficult one. Comment down below. I'm always interested in what your feedback on it is. And this is the problem. I say this to people all the time when they try and drive the price down, and drive the price down. I'm saying, if there's a problem with the car, are you going to want to bring it back to me? Yeah, of course I do. Well then, why would I discount the price? I need that margin to fix the car if you bring it back to me. So the only way I'm going to discount it further is if you're going to tell me if there's a problem with the car, you're not going to be bringing it back to me. But the trouble is, unfortunately, we're all the same, aren't we? If we can save the money, we'll take the saving. But then when there's a problem, we regret it and would rather have paid a little bit more and had the cover. That's the way we all are. I don't blame John for it. You know, we're all like it. But yeah, comment down below. I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are on that. Now this one's from Graham. It's on my phone, so apologies if I'm looking up and down here. Thanks for sending this across, Graham. This was an interesting one. So Graham purchased a car about 3 weeks ago. He messaged me because he was having problems with it. So from day one, he had issues with the car. It had an MOT the day before he picked it up. Yet the front tyres were terrible, and he needed to replace them straight away. The wiper blade linkage was insecure. The wiper was wobbling around. Instead of it being welded on, he says that it was actually welded on instead of bolted, so it sounds like someone had done a bit of a bodge. He asked if the car had been in the paint shop because he found body shop dust. You can't. That's really hard to get out. If you sand the car and you've not masked off the doors or kept them open, you'll get dust everywhere from the filler. So he found that all over the car, and they denied it. But then looking at the car closer, he found that the bumper was badly fitted and that the headlights were actually glued in. Now this car didn't actually go through as having had a cat accident or anything like that, so it doesn't have to. Remember, a car doesn't have to go on the register with an accident. It could just be repaired badly and never have an insurance claim on it. So yeah, the headlights were glued in, and the grille was actually expanding, foamed into the car as well. This sounds absolutely awful. I never got pictures of this car. I should have got pictures of it. It sounds absolutely awful. So yeah, so he went back to the dealer. Now, interestingly, at the point he went back to the dealer with these concerns, the dealer then turned around and said that the vehicle that Graham had traded in had loads of problems, and they were going to charge him for that. That they said that it had an oil leak and a suspected head gasket. So they went on the attack and said that they were going to charge him for a load of stuff on his car. So Graham came to me and asked me what's the score. Now, I sent him this little clip here. When you probably all know this, but when you sell a part exchange to a dealer, unless you sign a piece of paperwork that makes certain statements about the vehicle that turn out to be untrue afterwards, then really there is zero comeback at all. It says, in the eyes of the law, it's a private sale between you and the dealer. It's sold as seen. There's no dealer comeback at all. So as with a private sale, unless you've deliberately misled someone or made a false statement, so don't forget, if you sell your car off your driveway, there's no comeback at all for the person you sell the vehicle to. They can drive off down the road and find it's got problems. There's zero comeback. Unless you made a false statement, they can prove you made a false statement. So for example, in writing's easier. If you put it in your advert and said the gearbox is fine, the engine is fine, drives perfectly, and they go up and there's no fifth gear as per our earlier example, then they've got a right of return because you've misrepresented the vehicle, you've made a false statement. If you say nothing about, and to be honest with you, you are best doing this, saying nothing in your advert at all about how the vehicle drives or the gearbox or anything like that, then they've got zero comeback at all. It's only if you make a false statement. So it's the same when you sell the car to a dealer. If you don't make any statements about the vehicle at all, some dealers are quite smart. They will actually get you to fill out a form that says there's no faults. And I did hear an example where someone signed to say there was no known fault, but then the dealer found a receipt from a week earlier saying that the car had a head gasket problem or something similar. So in that case, they were misrepresenting, they were making a false statement, and the dealer actually went back to them for the money. But if the dealer's getting you to sign no such sort of statement and you've made no statement, then there's no comeback for the dealer at all. So obviously, checking with our subscriber, he made no statements about the car. In fact, he denies there was any problems with any oil leaks or anything else at all. I mean, it's obviously, I can't say for a fact either way at all. But he certainly didn't sign anything that agreed that there would be any comeback on his part exchange or that there was any specifics mechanically wise with the vehicle at all. So the dealer had no comeback to him at all on that. And I said to him, because he'd had the vehicle under a month, he's within 30 days, under law he can return the vehicle for any reason within 30 days. So just to recap on that, he could have taken the car back within 30 days without any problems at all. His part exchange, there was no comeback from the dealer on his part exchange at all, because he hadn't misrepresented it or any of those things, or signed a link to say as much. The fact that he's decided to take £1,000 from them, you know, because he's happy with the vehicle with £1,000 back, that's great. It's a good result for him. Hopefully that helps some of you that might be in similar situations. Right, next one, we've got an interesting one here. Again, massive thanks for sending it across. It's Amit, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And this is from the other side of the fence. So Amit is doing a little bit of dealing from his driveway. He's doing it the honest way. He's telling people he is a dealer, but he's doing it part-time from his driveway alongside his full-time job, trying to obviously break away from the old rat race and get going. So fair play to you there. He got in touch with me because he sold a BMW 5 Series. It was a older 5 Series. I think I've lost the details of the exact details now. I think it was around about a 2010 5 Series. So apologies if I got that wrong. He sold it from his driveway, but he did it as a proper trade sale with a warranty. Now the guy had the car for a little while and was really enjoying the car, and I think it was a couple of months in, the gearbox started to have problems. It was an automatic gearbox on a 5 Series, and yeah, he started to have a problem with the gearbox. He went and got the car assessed and checked out, and the quote that he got back was something like £2,000 to fix the gearbox. So the reason Amit got in touch with me is because at the end of the day, he'd only actually made 700 quid out of the deal. I think it said £700 or £800 out of the deal. Again, I say this all the time, people think dealers make absolute fortunes out of cars. They see them mark them up by £1,500 and think they've made £1,500. On average, your net profit will be anywhere between about 10 and 15% on a vehicle. So if you're selling, I think his car was around about £5,000, something like that, this BMW estate, and he'd only made about £700-800 out of it, and now we're looking at the thick end of £2,000 on a gearbox repair. So he messaged me and said, what can I do? He wanted to help the guy, so again, fair dues to him. Like I say, I can't knock him at all for doing it all the right way. A lot of people would have just sold it off the driveway and pretended they weren't a dealer. So I said to him, I said, look, at the end of the day, your best scenario here is to be honest, to say to the guy, for the cost of the repair on the vehicle, it financially isn't viable. So what he would like to do is take the vehicle back from the chap, and obviously just a deduction for fair usage on what he'd had on the vehicle to date. So I said to him, the only other thing is, if the guy really loves the car, you could offer to make a contribution to him. And I said, what I would do is probably offer to make him a contribution that is kind of like, just give him the £700 you made out of the car on a break-even side of things on it, and give that as a contribution to getting the gearbox fixed, and say, from this point forwards, that is it. You know what I mean? I'm tapped out on the car. I wouldn't be able to do any more for you. If you accepted that money for the gearbox repair, that's it from that point forwards. So Amit got hold of the chap. Now he did put a warranty on it. He was just concerned the warranty wasn't going to cover this problem with the gearbox. So he got hold of the chap and he told the chap the truth. He said, look, based on the margin I made on the car, I cannot afford to do this repair. I'll happily take the vehicle back, or I'll make a contribution towards the gearbox being done. And it turned out, as we thought, the guy absolutely actually loved the car other than that, and rather go ahead and get the repair done, and was actually really chuffed that Amit was willing to make the contribution to it, rather than just disappearing off into the sunset like a lot of people would have done. He's in a situation where he's made £700-800 out of the car. He's been told the repair's around £2,000. What's he going to do? He did put a warranty on it, but he wasn't sure that they were going to pay out on it. So anyway, I said to him that the best policy is always honesty. Ring the chap up, tell him that based on the margin you had in the car and the cost of this repair, it's not financially viable to do that repair, and that you would refund him for the vehicle, take the vehicle back, and just do a deduction for fair usage, which again under law is allowed. You can refund someone for a vehicle, they've had it for a little while and they've put a load of miles on it. You can actually do a deduction for fair usage. I would always caution how much you do that, because obviously there is an inconvenience to the person having to bring the vehicle back. So try and be as fair as you can with that. So I said, tell him that and just see where you get with it. It might be that he loves the car and he's willing to contribute something towards it himself. So Amit went away and did that, rang the chap up, explained that to him, and it turns out, as expected, the guy absolutely loved the car, and he was really chuffed that Amit was trying to work with him to sort it out. That he was willing to, as soon as you say to someone, I'm willing to give you a refund, it tends to take the wind out of sales if they kind of thought you were going to be that dodgy dealer who didn't want to do anything. The fact that you're saying, I'll refund you in full, normally means that people can see you're doing your best and you're going to try and help them out. So when Amit then offered to contribute towards the repair, if he did like the car, the guy was really chuffed. So I went away and did a bit more research and actually found someone that would do the repair for less, for £1,800, because they'd done it before. I spoke to the chap and said he was willing to do a 50-50 with him on that repair. So Amit was, again, he was going to make a little bit of a loss or break even at best on the car. So yeah, the guy was really chuffed with it. I had a little update on this recently, and in fact the news got better because the warranty company decided to contribute £500 to the repair as well. So by just being simply honest and straightforward, yes, he didn't end up making really any money out of it, but he's retained his reputation, he's got a happy customer, and he hasn't really lost as much as he could have done out of the situation. If he'd taken the vehicle back and had to do the repair and try and pay the full amount for the repair, he would have absolutely lost his rear on the car. If he'd put it through auction or sold it spares and repair, he'd lost his rear. So this is a win all for everybody, because that customer's now got an older BMW. Again, it's an older vehicle. It could have had that gearbox problem 12 months down the lane, and Amit wouldn't have had any responsibility at all to do anything. So he's now got himself a nicely rebuilt gearbox for less than half the cost of doing it, and he's got the car he's really happy with. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a win-win for all. Maybe some of you think differently. Again, get down in the comments and comment down below. Always massive thanks to everyone that sent them across. That's really appreciated. If you've got similar stories or need help with anything, don't forget you can message me on the Instagram channel or via my email on my website or via my Facebook page. So however you want to get them to me, and we'll make sure that we include them in the next one. See you on the next one. Thanks again. Cheers. Bye. Oh, and don't forget to support those companies supporting Chops Garage and check out that Surfshark offer. It's in the description down below. See you again soon.